Hello, my name is George Simonton, live from the Christ College Newsroom. Recently, I've been investigating male literacy. This is a vast topic, however, I have narrowed it down to people's opinions on the topic and how overall statistically male literacy rates have fallen in reading and writing. Here is what I have found.
I fucking hate English.
I hate English. English sucks. The teachers suck. Mr. Knight sucks.
English is a horrendous
I
subject.
hate English. It's the worst subject.
English is literally ass.
English is shit.
I hate English. It's so shit.
I hate English. It's the worst subject.
English. It's one of those subjects in school you love or you hate, and recently it's been on the receiving end of hate, especially from schoolboys. English literacy rates for males have been dropping at an alarming rate. Less and less books are being read, and spelling and grammar is extremely poor. Boys are becoming less and less literate as time goes on, but why is that? I interviewed expert on boys' literature and head of Christ College English Department, Chris Waugh, on many questions involving male literature. He believes that male literacy is a major problem. He believes that it can create a problem out of high school as well.
I think that literacy for young men is a proper issue and is something that we really need to pay attention to. I think young men entering into secondary school often lack the basic literacy that they need to succeed in education, even sometimes just lack the basic literacy they need to function in society. So it's an issue. Some of those longitudinal studies are really interesting to look at in relation to that, because it shows that with low literacy comes lower academic attainment, and with lower academic attainment comes lower success in life, lower paid jobs, higher incidences of drug and alcohol abuse, greater degrees of crime, getting involved in crime, higher incidences of mental illness. Like, there's a whole lot of things that actually can be linked back to lower levels of literacy. So it's a whole society concern. It might be about boys, but ultimately we're all affected, boy or girl, if boys aren't thriving in their learning in relation to literacy.
He believes that males have been steadily declining in the literacy department. It's also to do with their brain development and how they develop differently compared to females.
You could just look at some of those standardized tests and they demonstrate that there's been a steady decline in literacy for men. And it is actually a male thing. If you look at statistics for boys as compared to girls, then the statistic for boys are at least 30% lower in terms of performance at any given threshold, whether it's in primary school or at the end of secondary. So that's 3,000 to 4,000 boys in any given year in New Zealand who are behind.
Why don't boys read? He believes that it can be around the stigma of reading and that it's uncool to do so.
And I also think it's possibly about the image of boys and men in society and the degree to which that they see positive role models who read, and whether reading's considered to be a central part of the identity of being a boy. And I think all of those things are up for question.
Christ College librarian Mix Stillwell also had a lot to say about male literature. She had a lot of similar points, but very different ones as well. Stillwell believes that male literature is incredibly poor. She has even been saddened by the fact of how bad it is.
I have been saddened by what I see in terms of boys' engagement with reading, and I don't think it's the students' fault in any way. I think it's absolutely the way our society role models reading, but I do see far more boys who are disengaged, who will tell me, just today a boy told me, "Oh, I finished a book, it's the first time I've ever finished a book." And I hear that from year nines way more frequently than I would have hoped. And I'm really glad for them that, like, oh yeah, they're finally making that progress. But ideally they would have finished a book when they were 8, 9, and like they wouldn't have that experience the first time as a 13 or 14-year-old. I think it's that our society is doing it for them. It's coding, like in terms of our gender-coded behaviour. They're being role modelled that reading is a feminine thing. When you go onto the shelves at Whitcoulls at the moment and you look at what's available, especially in the kids and teen section, it's romances, it's got pink covers. I can't believe that as a queer person, I'm the one being like, can we please have books with male protagonists that aren't gay romances? Because that seems to be the vast majority of what's being published. And I can kind of see why boys are going, this isn't for me, because that's all the signalling they're seeing.
Male literature. It is becoming a massive problem in New Zealand society. People are beginning to realise how bad it is getting. By year 6, 40% of students are behind. What are you meant to do when you leave school? When you go out into society? When you get a job? How are you meant to learn new things if you can't read or write? New Zealand is beginning to realise how bad this is getting. We need to work and find a solution, not just ignore it and putting it to the side. Soon, our society will not be able to function. We need to get boys' reading standards up and get them to be able to read and write.
I want you to remember everything I've said today, everything other people have said today. Without male literature, our society would not be able to function as it does today. Without standards coming back up, they will slowly decrease and decrease until only a small portion of the population can read. We cannot run as a society on that. We all need to work together to make this problem better. Thank you.
Kia ora. I'm Marco Howe, and I'm representing the Christ College Newsroom. Over the past few weeks, we've been investigating the problems with Petakiota. Petakiota is the brand new Christchurch City Sports Centre that has gone wildly over budget and has had copious amounts of delays. To aid with our research, we have interviewed teachers and students of Christ College, as well as public and professionals regarding their opinion on the matter.
We have interviewed Craig Hutchings from the Christchurch City Council regarding Petakiota. This is what he had to say. Do you believe the construction of Petakiota has been a step in the right direction for Christchurch as a community? What are the main reasons for the delays and the overspending during the construction of Petakiota? We've also interviewed teachers and students of Christ College, as well as members of the public. Now let's see what they have to say. What are your opinions on Petakiota, the new sports centre, running insanely over time and over budget?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Max Healy from the Newsroom, and I've been investigating into the award known as the Duke of Edinburgh Award. Myself and fellow journalist Ollie Slabbert have interviewed two people to find out if it really is worth doing.
The Duke of Edinburgh Award, or DofE, is a youth development programme for ages 14 to 24. It was founded in 1956 by Prince Philip. It involves volunteering, physical fitness, and skill development and adventurous journeys at bronze, silver, and gold levels. The DofE is said to help build essential life skills, resilience, and can be highly valued by universities and employers for demonstrating leadership, teamwork, and communication skills. But can it really help that much? To find out, our first speaker is
Graham Christie. I'm a teacher at Christ's College, and one of my jobs or responsibilities is the Master in Charge of Duke of Edinburgh.
And he will explain from his perspective as a professional on the matter what he thinks the Duke of Edinburgh Award is, and how it is an international award and it's not academic, and how it can help people through life.
Right, so the Duke of Edinburgh is the world's highest non-academic qualification you can have. It's an international, it's one of the... In New Zealand, we have an academic qualification called NCEA. Not every country has that qualification, and if you go to America, you've got to sit their SATs to be allowed in their universities. The Duke of Edinburgh is an international standard, which the same program runs across all the different countries. So therefore, if you've got a gold in New Zealand, people around the world know what that means. So that's the second thing is non-academic. So therefore, as a result, every single person should be able to, if they have the willingness, to accomplish it. It's not related to grades.
Now, Mr. Christie will talk about how the Duke of Edinburgh Award can help out for future job opportunities, even at the bronze level, and how it is very much worth the time and effort that you put into it.
Many examples, but I did take a group of boys on a gold expedition just before COVID, 2019 I think, and our guide was one of the top managers before he became a guide, was one of the top managers in the health system over in England. And he said that when they had advertisements for positions, they might get 1,000 applicants. He would take those that have got their bronze, silver and gold and put in one pile and throw the rest out. And then he'd start the interview process from there. I have been told through the Duke of Edinburgh and their emails that they send out to me as an award leader that there are 3 companies in New Zealand that are actually using the Duke of Edinburgh as the standard for employing people. Certainly a lot of Year 13 students who have registered for the Duke of Edinburgh and haven't finished it, they come to finish it in Year 13 because they found out to get into halls of residence they need extra things, like the Duke of Edinburgh. There's one boy who yesterday when I was working with him at Clay Target, he said I want to be a pilot, and what they said is lots of people want to be pilots, and they said you need other things to be a pilot. And he said by doing the Duke of Edinburgh, getting the gold, it's more likely I'll be accepted than someone who hasn't done the Duke of Edinburgh. So two people doing the same pilot course end up, one of them gets to be selected. So yes, it is significant, worthwhile doing.
Finally, he mentions some tips that can help you get through your own Duke of Ed award and complete it with more ease than a proper schedule, and how many students don't complete their logs properly or have not understood and have to restart the whole process of a year.
On your cell phone, put an alarm that on a certain day, and I always keep saying you should do it on mentor time, for example, but on a certain day at a certain time the alarm goes off, and that week you fill in your logs. If you do that week by week, you'll be amazed how quickly things work out. The worst thing is lots of students, they go for a whole year and they then have to work their way through their logs and they forget about things. The other one which is critical is that, and I've had people turning down their Duke of Edinburghs because they're assessors. They have not got the right assessors. and the assessor can't assess the skill, or then they dump a whole lot of logs and the person says, "Who are you? I haven't seen you," and as a result they turn them down, and so that's 6 months worth of work. Or one person on gold, that was a whole year of work and he had to start again. So first of all, regularly update your logs and make sure that you check in with your assessor. The other one is make sure your logs are accurate. So some people says, they did things and they didn't actually do it on the day. And so don't lie, do it each week and check in with your assessors.
Now we have heard from Mr. Christie. Let's hear what Harry Vaughan, a Year 13 student in Rolleston from Christ College that never completed his Duke of Edinburgh, has to say about the award.
I think it's worth it if you get gold, but I think if you just get bronze and silver, it's not really worth it.
When asked about if he would go back and redo the award, this is what he had to say.
I'm not sure. I don't know. If I did, I'd really commit to getting gold. But if what I did was not much, and then it's basically impossible for me to get gold, so I didn't see much point in doing it.
Now he will talk about his gold diploma that he completed even though he had not completed any of his Duke of Ed.
The stuff I could have logged for DOE, I just logged straight in for diploma anyway. So I ticked off the same categories.
To conclude, it seems that the Duke of Edinburgh Award may be a challenging task to complete at times, but definitely has some benefits and can help you in ways in the future. But it is probably not worth it if you don't have the right mindset to stay consistent, or if you only want to cruise past with the bare minimum of effort. I'll leave it up to you though to decide whether the award is worth it or not. Thank you and goodbye.
Hello, I'm Moss Umbrich, live from Christ College Newsroom. Today, we will be investigating whether or not it should be compulsory for schools to have a uniform. Today, we will be interviewing Charlie DeCostabati, a Year 11 student at Christ College, and Noah Kingston, an international student.
First up is Charlie DeCostabati, speaking about the benefits of having a compulsory uniform.
Having a uniform is good because I think it's the only time when you actually have something designated to wear, and it just makes it easier. So one of the benefits I think is it puts you in the right mindset. Having a uniform is your way of toning in. Having a uniform helps your brain recognise it's a school day and helps your brain engage your work, whereas and then at the end of the day you can use your mufti or non-uniform to relax, and it helps you keep in different mindsets. Having a uniform is also good because it's something to remind you of your school days. Like once you've finished school, you've left school, you can have left all your school uniform and reminds you, oh, remember when, and so on, depending. I think having a uniform is good because it helps you save time. School is incredibly busy. The time, even if it took you 2 minutes a day to choose what to wear, getting different things, and deciding what goes with what, does the colours work, and so on, if you add that up through the entire year, over 5 years or 3 years for NCEA, that is taking a lot of time. That could be tens of hours. And if that, I'm taking it to an extreme, but if that 10 hours brings you down 3 marks or lose lots of credits, like 5 excellence credits, and for that reason you don't get excellence endorsed, and for that reason you don't get into the course or the university or something that you wanted to get into, well, then having the uniform or not having the uniform has then become quite costly. So being able to cut down on the amount of time it uses. Yeah, I think it would be easier with washing and depending on how you feel, but I don't think it would be. I can't off the top of my head think of a reason why it would be easier. So, and do I think wearing a uniform makes you perform better? Like I said earlier, I think wearing a uniform puts you in the right headspace. There's this trick, or you could call it, that if you have a designated space where you study, then when you come to this space, your brain knows this is where I come to study. And I think it's the same for a uniform, having this spot designated just for having this space just for, or just a uniform, having the uniform just for school, and then having a mufti or having a sports uniform just for sport. It puts you in the right headspace. Also, it helps, I think, it shows that you're the same. It shows that you're both, if you have two people, or if you've left school and you see someone wearing your old uniform, you feel a connection, because you feel a connection to the place or to your school, and then your school uniform is a part of that. And without even talking to them, you now feel like that is my school, or that is our school.
There are some very good points there by Charlie DeCosta Buddy. Next up, we have Noah Kingston, our international student, and he'll be talking to us about whether or not he enjoyed having a compulsory uniform or not having one.
Having a uniform also means it creates spirit. Like the boys' high game at college, we did something similar at my old school where I went without a uniform, but there just wasn't the same vibe because everyone was wearing different stuff. Whereas a uniform, it feels like you're all together supporting them. It just feels much more special when you're all wearing the same thing and supporting together.
Then he goes on about the dress code,
which you must follow and can get into trouble if you don't. In my school, the dress code was 3 pages. Also, having a uniform means there is less chance of being distracted at school, as you don't have to think about what you're wearing, as a uniform tells you what to wear. As well as with a uniform, everyone is wearing the same thing, so it makes it much easier to focus. As your brain will eventually learn that when you're in your uniform, it's time to focus and pay attention. So you get used to, at school, in your uniform, switched on. Whereas when you go home and get changed into your mufti, your brain thinks, oh, it's time to chill and just relax. No more needing to switch on and pay attention in class. This is why I think having a uniform makes school better, as it's easier to focus. It is easier for students, and it means one less reason to get in trouble, as no more dress code, just keep wearing your uniform.
It looks like Noah's leaning more towards the compulsory uniform, as he said way more benefits than not having a compulsory uniform. Judging off both interviews, we can see that both sides have had more benefits than doubts with a compulsory uniform. Well, this is Moss Unrich from Christ College Newsroom. Thank you.